You are now tuned in to the Dads Who Lift podcast. Please give us a like, share, subscribe to the YouTube account. We are on www.dadswholiftofficial.com. All the podcast links are in there. We also have an apparel line that's taking pre-orders right now. We're on IG as Dads Who Lift Official handle. We're on Facebook, Dads Who Lift Podcast. We also have a Dads Who Lift fitness group on Facebook that's Dads Who Lift Official. A group of 30,000 like-minded dads that are just trying to be their best selves and staying fit. If that's something you're into, please check it out. But we do this stuff for free, guys, so please give us a like, share, 5-star review. We really appreciate your support.
On today's episode, we've got a very special guest, AJ Ellison. Along with his litany of accomplishments, he's also the ultimate family man. He and his wife, Nikki, just had their first son, Courage. He ran track in the Olympic trials. He's a 3-time wbff champion. He fought MMA. He's also an IFBB pro bodybuilder.
We have on a special guest today, AJ Ellison.
What's up, guys? Glad to be here.
Hey, man, thank you so much for coming on the show. You're a pretty big deal, so we appreciate having you.
Thanks, man. I don't know about the big deal part. I think I'm just one of the older guys on the gram with a little bit of consistency with what I do, and so there comes a little bit of popularity with the fitness community, and that's about it.
Yeah, AJ, you have a phenomenal physique, man. I was looking at your Instagram the other day. So before we get into some of the higher level things, I did want to ask you a little bit about some of the methodologies you practice. Can you tell us a little bit about what your diet looks like?
Yeah, for sure. So for the past 9 months or so, it's just been straight up vegan diet. I just wanted to try it out, man. I saw last year after my last show in October, I just decided to go cold turkey and just cut out animal products and just see what it does in my body. One, I just wanted to be a better trainer, and instead of just reading about something, I always got to put myself through something in order for myself to have more confidence as a trainer to tell somebody what they need to be doing with the diet. So yeah, I just wanted to see what it does in my body. I've had a lot of knee issues as well. Had stem cell injections. I had 2 quad tendon frays in both knees, and over time, I was misdiagnosed with chondromalacia, which is the cartilage wearing away behind both knees, which wasn't the case at all. It was the quadricep tendon in both knees. So I got stem cell injections done for that. I've got all different kinds of treatments for the knees, and for such a small injury, it's caused me the most issues for the longest amount of time. So that was also another reason why I decided to go vegan as well, to see if I can just heal myself from the inside out and kind of expedite the process a little bit better. But what I found out when I crossed over and switched diets is that number one, gut health. How regular I was and the gut health, and it felt like as if my metabolism, because my gut health was better, my metabolism was faster. So when you take out animal products and you replace plant-based products, you're already there. You're already in a calorie deficit, right? Just by eating the same portion. So in order for me to eat as much as I do on a vegan diet, I did on a meat eater's diet, is I have to replace those calories. So the quantity of food that I'm eating per meal is a lot more. So when I'm cutting, like, there's no snacking involved, because I'm just full. I'm full all the time, just filling myself up with plant-based, vegetables and whatever. But I can't. It's almost as if I can't eat enough, right? My sugar cravings are a lot lower as well on a plant-based diet. I just don't have the cravings. I'm not snacking as much anymore because my meals have to be pretty robust in order for me to get my calories in. So I'm not hungry in between meals at all. So on a cutting aspect, I feel quite good. I haven't gone into comp prep and gotten competition ready off of vegan diet yet. I'm not sure which way I'm going to go with that. But
do you feel like you could?
That's the question, right? Can I get as grainy as I can on a vegan diet? What I noticed during the bulking and during the maintaining and doing a small, like a mini cut, I didn't notice any difference with my composition and my skin. A lot of bodybuilders who have crossed over and tried it before reported that they feel squishier, not as hard, right? I didn't notice any strength losses. Um, I felt about the same. Recovery, cool. It's just I didn't, stomach wise, my gut health felt the best on a vegan diet.
What about energy and like mental clarity and stuff?
Mental clarity, I would say, yeah, sharper there. Energy's about the same. I don't feel as lethargic while I'm eating each meal, or just after I eat each meal. It's not nearly as bad as when I'm eating more on a meat eater's diet. So, but you do got to supplement. That's the thing. I think a lot of people forget that they have to supplement because it sounds like it's healthy, right? It's vegan, it's vegetables, plant-based, but you're still missing some things out of your diet. And I think one of the key things that people forget to add into their diet on a regular basis is leucine, and really stay on top of your branched chain amino acids. And I think that's the link for me to get conditioned and not feel so soft and squishy as I'm prepping for a show. We'll see. If I feel like I can't do it and I can't get as grainy, I'll definitely bail out and go to what I'm used to doing. But I want to see if I can get pretty just comp ready on just a vegan diet as well. But yeah, so big supplementations there. You know, I do a lot of vitamin D, magnesium, zinc, and the leucine and a good multivitamin as well. But yeah, you definitely got to supplement while you're on the vegan diet. You can't just because you're missing some key things.
The vegan diet always intrigues me.
It's your branched chain amino acids, and I think it's tough for people to get the protein in as well.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, I found for me, with EHP Labs and Blessed makes a really, really good quality protein powder, vegan protein powder. And it's the taste. A lot of times they just don't taste very good. They have an earthy, grainy taste to it. You're like, ugh. But this stuff is pretty good. It's good to the point where I can tell someone who's a bit lactose intolerant and they're not vegan to try it out because it's easier. It's way easier on their stomach. And so you don't have to be vegan to try out different vegan protein powders. It's just that some people, the whey it tears them up, right? It gives them a bit of bubble guts. So going with a plant-based protein powder might be easier for someone who's a bit lactose intolerant or just doesn't handle.
Could you get enough protein in without doing a powder going vegan?
It's tough, man.
Yeah,
it's tough.
A lot of beans.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have everything that I have going on, it could be done, yes, because you don't have to have the protein powder. But one, my appetite isn't that great, so I supplement with the vegan protein powder to make sure I hit my protein content for the day. But yeah, and plus it breaks it up. I like it. It tastes good. So for me, just to be munching all day long, it's a tough chore. The bulking aspect of the bodybuilding is hard for me because I'm not a massive eater. I have my moments where I can put down a lot of food, but to consistently eat that much day in day out, it's a tougher chore for me.
And what are your calories and macros typically set at for your cutting and bulking? And is that like every day you stick to the same calories and macros, or do you do any carb cycling or anything like that?
Yeah, I've done every diet underneath the sun just to see what works the best. But what I noticed for me, what I like after doing the different types of carb cycling, is that I also noticed that my energy level shifted as well, right? With the carbs, as you pull the carbs out, you feel a lot more lethargic, a lot more tired, and you shuttle the carbs back in and you feel better. But just keeping the carbs even throughout the week. Of course, I make the adjustments throughout the week in, week out. I make the adjustments that I need to as I'm cutting further down because your macros have to change, right? You have to keep creating a calorie deficit, a greater calorie deficit. So with my diet, about 3,100 calories is where I'll sit at if I'm just maintaining. So from there, I have to create a slight deficit if I want to begin cutting. And I'll just take off about 250 to 500 calories, somewhere in there is my mark with diet, and I want to burn the rest of it off. So I don't make these massive drops in my diet, because I actually like to feel full. I like the idea of feeling full throughout the prep as long as possible, as opposed to taking so much food away. A lot of people like to diet hard, but I'll do more cardio and I'll work the weight off as opposed to starving it off.
So at 3,100 calories, what do your macros look like?
So I don't really go as high as most people do. Like if I'm just maintaining or bulking as far as my protein. So I'll take my body weight, and I'll even be I'll be in or around 200, 215 to 200 to 30 grams of protein. I'm sitting at about 230, 235 pounds now. As I'm in a deficit, I'll definitely increase my protein content up to 1.5 per body weight for cutting. But I don't need that much protein. We don't need that much protein while we're in it.
So like a gram per pound while you're maintaining, and a gram and a half per pound when you cut.
Honestly, a gram per lean body weight is more than enough to suffice, especially when you're in a calorie surplus. If you're in a calorie deficit and you're pushing your body to the extreme, you have to increase that protein count. But when you're fueling your body with all the right foods, you don't have to have high protein content. That's also tough on the body as well when you're eating that much protein.
What about your training, AJ? Do you hit one body part a week? Do you do like an upper lower or push pull leg split?
I try to focus on twice. Certain body parts I'm hitting twice a week, if my body will allow me to do that. I am a little older, so you kind of got to do the checks and balances every morning. And I think that's what people forget when they look at me, because they just look at these images or look at the videos like, damn, he looks all right, man. He's in really good shape. But
how old are you?
The engine is from 1976. It takes a little bit of warming up, you know what I mean? I got a warm up set for my warm up sets, and then once I'm warmed up, I'm good. But the younger guys are ready to go in, and I'm still doing my warm up sets. So yeah, it's
how do you keep your mobility?
That's just it. I've lost a lot of mobility over the years, and then so I'm dealing with that now as well. So I am doing more mobility stuff. I just got away from it, is what I did. When you get into a sport where all they're looking at is the muscle quality and the symmetry, all you're trying to do is put on muscle, and you start foregoing some of the other things that got you to where you are, and because you're under the gun now time wise for your next show, and you want to look as you want to put on as much size as possible, you want to be as shredded as possible, so you start putting more emphasis on just building muscle, and you start neglecting some of the other things, some of the mobility and the stretch work. So now I do see an athletic therapist who I'll do the deep tissue massaging, all those kind of things, the Graston techniques, all these things I do outside of the gym now, just to make sure I can maintain and still hang with these younger guys inside the gym. So I devote another 5 to 6 hours a week doing that, stretching, mobility, either some work on my own, the homework that the athletic trainer has given me with the lacrosse ball and whatnot, or the massage gun, and just go through these routines as I see this person about once or twice a week. I have my homework that I need to be doing on my own to make sure I'm getting ahead of the ball, because the pain is manifesting from all the things that I've been doing wrong. And
all the years adding up.
Yeah, all the years, and you don't feel that. And when you're 20 something, you're not hearing that either. Because I've heard the older guys talk about all their pains and all their injuries. And you don't, when you're younger, you just don't think about any of that. You feel invincible. So all you're trying to do is lift as much as you possibly can. And that is the only way to add intensity to your lifts. At least I thought that back then. So yeah, right. The way I train now is it's more of a volume. I do higher volume, and I do that to govern how much I can lift. So it is a bit of it's high volume training, but it's not with lightweight, right? It's with the appropriate amount of weight for the reps that you set for it. So if you're failing at 20, you're failing at 20, right? Not doing something for 20 reps that you can actually do for 30 or 40 reps.
Right.
So it's still quite heavy. And then as you get used to that kind of lifting, because I'm trying to govern how much I lift and save my joints. So if I'm doing something for 15 reps, that's way more than I can do for 8 reps. It's not nearly as much weight as I can do for something for 6 to 8 reps, right? So that's why I try to do the higher volume stuff. Just put as much blood as possible into the muscle, stretch the fascia as much as possible. If I'm feeling good, I'll have a heavy day and a high volume day. Depending on what muscle I'm working out that week. But I try to hit legs twice a week. I'll try to do shoulders twice a week and back twice a week. Chest and arms. Chest is once, and arms I'll train if a buddy, a partner wants to train them. I don't train them as much directly. I don't do a lot of single joint curl type movements. It usually tends to flare up a tennis elbow if I do too much of that. So I do 2 back days, and 2 back days for me is enough to keep the volume and the fullness in my arms that I need for stage. If I train my arms directly as well, then my body will be pretty disproportionate. My arms tend to respond quite fast as opposed to other parts of my body. So I don't train my arms directly. But I try to stick to more compound movements with everything. And then I focus more on the compound movements, and I add some of the peripheral movements in at the end. But again, it's more of a volume style workout. I also don't do a ton of different exercises for certain, like for chest, just because there's 2 muscles there. You have pec major, pec minor. I don't do a lot of the Q stuff you see on Instagram. I stick to the basics there.
Keep it classic.
Yeah, very much so. Some days I may only be doing just 2 exercises that day, but typically I'll do at least 3. I don't do much more than that for chest.
So what's your cardio like? Do you still do a lot of cardio every day then?
Not in the off season.
You're right.
In the off season, I do not. For me, it's very hard for me to pack on the weight. It's a lot easier for me to cut and shred. And that's usually the case, right? The bigger guys, it's tougher for them to get super, super shredded, but they pack on the weight a little easier. And for me, packing on the weight has always been a struggle. So, one, I'm not a big eater. I'm not a massive eater. I got to force feed myself. So that, coupled with the faster metabolism, I've always been a leaner guy. So putting on the size of what has always been a struggle for me.
You ever reverse diet? I'm just curious for my own knowledge on this. Do you ever reverse diet and try to get your metabolism up higher?
Yeah. After every competition,
you have to.
Every time I diet down, or every time I do a photo shoot, anytime I diet down, I always come out. I don't just jump back into any old diet. Systematically increase my calories. When you do it that way, though, when you reverse out of the diet, you're able to take in a lot more carbs as you were just jumping, just falling off. What most people do is if they have a show or a photo shoot, they just fall off the wagon, right? The concept and the idea sounds great, but after they get done with that show, it's a lot of stress, right? And they finally get done with the show, and it's a bit of a release. They get to let their hair down. They eat some cheap meals, and that taste of freedom, and they don't go back to.
It's a slippery slope, and the binge eating is real among competitors, which I was not aware of at first, but it's very common.
How long does it take you to reverse diet back?
Yeah, and that's the unhealthy part about the fitness industry, right? Is the crazy yo-yo dieting. For me, if I'll cut for 12 weeks. And I can reverse out of it for 6 weeks or so. 6 weeks, and I'm good. I don't see the rebound bloat, and water has a lot to do with that as well. Post show, people are pounding water like crazy and stuffing their face with everything, and so the next day or the next couple of days, they gain 15 to 20 pounds or 25 pounds of this water weight. and they can't see their ankles. Their knees and ankles are swollen to shit. Their face is just round as hell. And that's just due to their body just soaking up all the liquid and sodium at the same time. So I also do a reverse with my water as well. Well, I'm not just chugging water. That's the first thing you want to do, and it's the first thing you got to stop yourself from doing. It's just natural instinct to want to chug water after a show. I've done it many years, but over the past few years, as I'm a bit more seasoned, I don't guzzle water as much.
So you actually limit your water after a show and then gradually add more?
Right.
Really?
So I slowly open up floodgates. I don't just start guzzling water, because then you'll swell up. You'll swell up, and your body will just soak up all the water. Your ankles, your feet, ankles, shins, knees, whatever, just starts pooling water. So
I'm in this place where I've been cutting for fucking years, and I never did it the correct way. So like, I fucked myself to where my metabolism is completely shot, right? So I tried to cut. Joel and I were doing this challenge for July, and we were trying to get just completely shredded for July. And I kept getting to this place where I would cut, and I could only get to like 207, and that was it. My body would not drop any more weight at all, you know. And I was cutting at like 2,000 calories. My maintenance was like 2,500 calories. So now my coach has got me reverse dieting, which I hate, because I feel big and fluffy as hell. But he's got me maintaining right at like 218, 219, and then steady adding calories every single week. But it's a different feeling, man. Everybody likes to feel, or at least I like to feel lean, you know? And so when you get that little band around your waist, you know, it kind of sucks.
That's the crappy part about this sport, if you want to call it that, is that you have to go through it's
24/7.
But it also causes a lot of eating disorders for some people, especially for women as well, right? And you have to have a good grasp of that and your own body image, because you're going to go through these different phases where you're, you know, up to 20 to 25 pounds heavier in the off season.
Yep.
Some people more, and then, you know, you're down another 20, 25 pounds when you're competing, and they're going back and forth. And these are small. I'm talking, that's not that big of a difference. There's people that do a bit bigger. They have a bigger discrepancy in the winter than they do during their competition season. We're talking 30 plus pounds. That's a massive swing, you know, being 30, 35 pounds heavier, 40 pounds heavier, and cutting for a show each year. That's not healthy either. So for me, I always want to keep my body in a certain range where I'm not allowing myself to go over a certain body fat percentage and getting completely out of shape. One, it's not good for business. It's not good for the brand. You have to look the part and play the part. If you expect people to take you seriously on social media, it's just part of the deal, right? And it's just, why make it that much harder for your contest prep next year by putting on extra fat? Just doesn't make sense. So yes, your body fat has to increase a little bit, but not nearly to what I'm seeing most people do. They don't have a very regimented off season. They start off somewhat regimented, and they just kind of fall off to the point where they're just eating whatever they want, and that's their off season. So.
Yeah, Lee Priest comes to mind. I don't know if you've ever seen his off season and then competition pictures, but he would just like KFC, like literally everything. He'd put on 50 or 70 pounds of mass, most of it fat, but then he would just diet down hard and get peeled, and then just this cycle. So I'm with you. I don't think that's a healthy way to go, but maybe we'll throw up one of the before and after pictures. It's pretty insane just to see how he did that every year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wow factor for sure, but yeah, it's not good for the body to be swinging back and forth like that. But open bodybuilding is a bit more extreme, and that's why they don't do nearly as many shows as like the men's physique guys who keep, they do shows back to back weeks. Some of the guys, as they're chasing, their that spot for Olympia. So yeah, it's a little bit of a different animal, and it's that lifestyle of open bodybuilder isn't for everybody. I think it's fun to watch. I admire it, but I think a lot of people feel the same way, right? The open bodybuilding is just it's a bit more too extreme as far as I want to go. So For me, hovering around the men's physique and classic physique, maybe if I can get to that size with my legs, it's kind of as far as I'll go.
Do you have any cheat days or cheat meals, anything like that, AJ?
Yeah, because I don't have an issue with my weight during the winter, I can incorporate a couple of cheat meals just fine and not notice any extra weight gain. Plus, it's vegan stuff anyway, so it's I don't crave the sweets like I used to. That was big when I was eating whatever I wanted to. I was eating just a meat eater's diet. I crave sweets a lot. So
you personally, you feel better on plant-based. You like plant-based better.
It's I feel better. Again, it's not like I just feel like a whole different person. That's not it at all. I feel better as in my gut. I notice a massive difference with my digestion, how regular I am, the gut health. It feels like, when I'm on a vegan diet, I'm way more regular, man. We're talking four times a day, 5 times a day. That was never happening on a meat eater's diet. I was going once, and I'm eating 5-6 meals a day. Like, where's all that food going?
Damn, how do you get anything else done 4 or 5 times a day, man? Between eating 6 meals, shitting 5 times, like
I get some fire Instagram posts now, 4 times a day.
What about supplements, man? When you're in prep, what do you do for subs?
Not a lot, except for the vitamins I was talking about, the minerals and vitamins and stuff. Just because the vegan diet, the vitamin D, I do the vitamin C, D, B, zinc, magnesium, and I do BCAAs a few times a day, also as an intro workout. I add extra leucine into my diet also. And that's pretty much what I take. I'm not big on stims throughout the off season. I use stims and pre-workouts during the latter half of my contest prep, just for the extra kick in the pants. But I really don't use stims when I'm in a calorie surplus. Even if I'm feeling tired, I'm not really big on using stims. I like it. I like it to do what it does, or what it's supposed to do when I don't have anything in my system for a long time, and then introduce the stims from a pre-workout. You really feel it, right? And then if you're ever taking pre-workout on a regular basis, you don't even finish the can before you don't feel the effects of the pre-workout anymore. Right. So that's why I don't do the stims. So I'll get it, but I always like to work out with a nice, good vasodilator as well. The pumps are nuts off of it. So I like to use a good vasodilator, and also avoid pre-workouts that have proprietary blends, because I don't know what's in the blends. A lot of times people do more than what they're supposed to with the pre-workouts, because they're chasing that buzz that they got when they first took it. It's not there anymore. And then in the proprietary blends, you don't know what's really in there. A lot of things that they have in a high stim pre-workout can constrict your veins. And that's not what you want during a workout anyways. You want your veins to be open, as much blood pumping through there as possible, not constricted. So it's another reason why I'm not really big on stim pre-workouts, especially if I don't know what's in that proprietary blend.
Do you have to do TRT or anything? Keep your test levels high? I mean, do you?
Yeah. Well, just keep them regular.
Yeah.
Between cycles, like as you're getting ready for a show.
Yep.
And also to do the blood work as well. You want to make sure everything is where it needs to be.
How often do you get your blood work done?
What the younger guys fail to think about as they're chasing this career, success in this career, is life after it, which I don't understand why they wouldn't, because it's not like it's a long career in this sport. I've been doing it for over a decade now, but I just feel like the younger guys feel like they're under the gun with time, and they haven't taken the time to mature into the bodybuilders that they are now. Everything's rushed, right? Everything's expedited. Whereas I had years upon years to work on a natural physique and to max it out as much as possible. I won my first world title 100% natural, right?
Nice.
And then it wasn't until then that I realized the level of the game had stepped up, year after year. And so so then that's when I decided to cross over and become enhanced, to keep up with the Joneses on that level. But the way that you have longevity, I believe, and genetics have a lot to do with it as well. Where I feel fortunate enough to where I can do the bare minimum, and be able to hang with the guys on the men's physique stage. If I had to abuse the enhancements, I would not. Put myself on
I hear a lot of guys talking nowadays. I mean, there's obviously a lot of guys that just blast all the time when they're in prep, but I've heard a lot of guys talking nowadays about microdosing and about how really getting, the most out of minimal amounts.
Yeah, yes. I'm a believer in that as well. It's a bit more tedious and it sucks, but yes, absolutely. And the thing is, I don't think people realize that when they start off on these high number cycles, like, where do you graduate from there?
Right.
You have to go up from there on your next cycle. How many cycles you're going to do? You keep stepping up. And some of the cycles that I'm seeing are like bodybuilder type cycles, but they're not looking like pro bodybuilders. So I'm like, wow, that's man, I just don't see any longevity in that.
Right.
You know,
You got to keep your sensitivity to it, right?
Yeah, I think so. And case in point, like our little boy was consumed after I won in my first NPC show. Yeah, so I think just keeping things, people, you chase that W so bad in this sport, and I've been there too, especially initially in the beginning. You have the blinders on because you're chasing after something so bad. You put so much hours into something. You put so much time, so much effort, right? So much sweat and even money, and you invest that into this hobby of yours, this sport, and then you fail to look up sometimes and realize that how selfish and how very lonely the sport can be. And for me, taking my family into consideration while I'm doing this is crucial. I would give all this up if I couldn't handle doing this and being a dad, a husband, an entrepreneur. If I couldn't handle those other chores, those other duties, this would be the first one I would cut.
That's what I wanted to get into, man. So you've got tons of accomplishments. I mean, you Olympic track runner, three-time, correct me if I'm wrong, WBFF, then went to the NPC, IFBB Pro. You did some MMA fighting in the middle there too at some point, right?
Yeah, I didn't quite make it to the Olympics. That's the only thing that wasn't quite 100%. Okay. Olympic trials. I wish that statement was true, brother. But no, Olympic trials, which is still, it's not a slouch feat by any means.
No, absolutely not.
But the field thing is probably the accolade that I'm probably most proud of, just because it's such a massive sport. And it's measured by your efforts, not by judges on a stage. So there's no subjectivity to track and field is what I loved about it, and it's offered everywhere across the world. Even the poor countries can be involved. So it's a humongous world sport, and to be able to take it as far as I was able to take it there on a professional level and race over in Europe, it was, and all this at the age of 22.
That's crazy, man.
It was a lot. Yeah, I didn't realize how blessed I was as I was going through it, because you're kind of in the thick of things and you're just working your ass off. But to step back now, looking at my younger self, I didn't realize that was something to be pretty proud of. I was just knocking down goals and chasing them. I didn't have time to think about what's what. And I didn't have time to think about what got me there in the first place, because before that I was average as shit.
What would you tell your younger self nowadays?
Then after track and field, I was average as shit for a while until I got into bodybuilding. So the 2 times I wasn't average was during the track and field time of my life and this bodybuilding time of my life. And to have to look back and assess, I'd have to say I've been the same person throughout. It's just there's been 2 times in my life that I had a dead ass set passion for something.
Yeah, you sound like a very goal-oriented guy. Where's that drive come from, do you think?
I don't know, man. I feel like it's embedded in most of us. Not all of us, but most of us. You want to get better. I mean, that's the whole point of being on this earth, is progression.
Sounds like you just found 2 things you're passionate about, and you're like, you got that tunnel vision and laser focus type deal, where you probably couldn't have done the hard work had it been something that you weren't super passionate about.
100%, because when you're not passionate about it, you just do the bare minimum, right? When you're passionate about something, it's not all fun, right? But because you're dead passionate about something, you're going to do all the mundane, small little chores and little things that the average person just could not be bothered with on a day in, day out basis, right? It's a day in, day out. They're whittling away at these chores, these tasks that most people just don't really care to do. Measuring your freaking food for 16 weeks straight, and systematically upping your cardio to 2 hours or whatever. Like that's nuts, man. Who does that?
There's something about competitors though that we're never happy. We're always striving for more, which is probably why you jumped. You went here, conquered that, went here, conquered that, went here, conquered that. I mean, you could have stopped after the WBFF, and
it's an internal thing for sure. If you don't have this internal desire to just kick your own ass and be better, then you're not going to have longevity in this at all. Because what happens on stage is never fair 100% of the time for everybody. It never is. And for anyone to jump on stage and think that you're jumping on stage for the wrong reasons, you're going to be upset. You're going to be upset 99% of the times you get on stage, because you can't win them all. And it's all based off of opinions of a handful of people sitting at a table, sitting in front of you. And if you change those people up with the exact same people on stage, you'll get a different result each time. So it's tough for me to put all my eggs in a basket and put that much value on what happens on stage, when me winning isn't necessarily just determined by how hard I work, really. Right? You like for those, for that to match up, your work efforts match up with that victory, but that's not necessarily the case in bodybuilding. So you got to take that in mind. And the biggest thing I think I can say on here, for people that are trying to get into the sport and they're taking it seriously and they really want a career in this, is that your phone doesn't start ringing off the hook when you get that pro card. No one calls you, period. This ain't the NFL. This isn't the NBA. No one calls you when you get your pro card. Your phone stays silent. You have to, as you turn pro, or even before you're pro, you have to work on your brand. You have to work on yourself. You have to work on promoting yourself, promoting your business. If you have a business related to fitness, be it a product or a service, I recommend you having something like that. If it's just a hobby for you, I quit my full-time job as a test engineer at Sprint to cross over into bodybuilding and have my own business within the fitness industry. So that's how people make it in this industry, is by building the brand behind them as they get into the competition world, and then use that as a branding tool, not just out there collecting wins or trying to collect wins. It's making the connections with the athletes, making the connections with the judges, the connections with the photographers, right? And your relationship building. And I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a gig or made a connection out of just having a good standing relationship with the people that I meet when I go to the shows. That's the most important part. And that way, you're remembered for that. You're also remembered for your professionalism too when you show up at a show.
Absolutely.
You're not all closed off, and you're able to, you're willing to talk to people and shake some hands, and
It's just like anything, man. You got to add value.
Yeah.
When you're building a brand, you got to add value to people. If you're going to add value, be about your brand, you're always going to be successful.
Yeah, and people forget about that. So, and that's just it. Yeah, it's not just if you put all your eggs in one basket and you just make it just about the stage alone. I feel like you're gonna have a short career and you're gonna be upset a lot.
How has your life changed now that you become a father? You just had your first son, Courage, and then you also, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have your wife has some children from previous as well that you're a stepfather to.
Yeah, yeah. So we have a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old. They're both about to turn 13 and 11, and then we have a 1-year-old.
Nice.
So we have a lot. It's a lot going on. We got some good helpers, but the oldest one, and as we're coming out of lockdown now, so last week, and it was a big week for us. So the oldest is in soccer, so now she's doing her soccer twice a week. Got to drive her all over town for soccer practice. The other one does gymnastics. The middle one does gymnastics, so she's gone for 5 hours a day, 4 hours out of the day, Monday through Friday, doing gymnastics. And then, of course, the 1-year-old is attached to either myself or my wife, which is usually me. But and then we got to open up our gym. We have a gym as well that we had to have shut down for 3 months, 3 long months.
Have you reopened it yet?
Yeah. Do you have
Nice.
restrictions? Are they placing these restrictions on you where people have to still social distance and all that stuff?
Yeah, we're a studio gym, so it's mostly focused on the trainers and clients. But we do have memberships as well. But it's such a small gym that we don't have to do that. Our cleaning has bumped up, and we have more cleaning stations, and we just have our employees double time on the cleaning, so that way that everything's being sanitized, and that's just. And then as customers come in or members come in, we also have to spray their hands when they first walk in as well. So whether they want it or not, they got to have their hands out and spray, and then they get to walk in and do whatever they got to do. But so far, we don't have to implement anything crazy yet. We may have to do some kind of a reservation system if we start getting too busy. Just so that way we can make sure we meet whatever criteria that they set for us as far as how many people we can have in the building at one time. So right now we don't have to do that, and I'm glad, because that's what people are coming to the gym for. They want to get their full training sessions in. But some of the big box gyms now here, Good Life, which is like a subsidiary or on to 24 Hour Fitness in the U.S., they're having to do this the reservations. So you get an hour from the time that you walk in to the time you walk out, sign in, sign out. But if you're getting off work and you have your work clothes, you go change and you go and warm up, at that point you're probably getting like a 30-minute workout at that point before you sign out. So I think that's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way.
Especially during the peak hours when everyone goes, because there's like 7 to 8 and then 4:30 to 5:30 where no one's going to be able to get in now.
Yeah, and and then some people, that's the only time they can work out because they have families at home too, so they can't come. They can't come late. Especially I noticed when I first started training clients, I noticed dads show up early in the mornings. People that are married with children show up early in the mornings because the mom usually isn't cool with dad going to work all day, and then
spend the evening in the gym.
Yeah, from 5 to 7, kicking off.
I found that out last night, actually. I didn't get a chance to go to the gym till Kennedy got home from daycare, and I heard about it all night.
Yeah, they're not happy, man. They're not happy when you're doing something from yourself during the family hours. It ain't cool. So that's what I noticed, that a lot of fathers are in the gym butt crack early in the morning.
How has having children changed your mindset or your goals?
That's a good question, man. In some ways, I feel more pressure to continue seeing success, because it's up to me to be a provider and put food on the plate. Of course, my wife works as well, and she's a grinder also. But as a guy, you feel that's one of your biggest biggest chores. That's
It's a driving force for all men, is to be a provider for the family.
yeah. It's one of your biggest duties, I think. And so, when you bring kids into the world and, you have children, you got to provide. There's no failing. There's no, let's see if this works and oops, I failed. And no, man, you have to, you got to succeed. There's no failing option. That option is gone now. But I feel like everything I've done in life had groomed me up into this point. So I'm definitely, excited about this next chapter in life and taking on the challenge of raising my little boy and continue being a role model to the girls as well. It's giving me another opportunity to show a different side of me, and also show that I can try to master this as well.
New challenges and new growth, right?
And have a passion for that. Again, it's not just for me, the bodybuilding thing. It started off as a physique thing, right? I wanted to change my physique. I wanted a better physique. But that morphed into more of I just want to be a better freaking human being from outside to inside. Is more the goal now. Yeah, of course I want a dope physique, but what's more important, because the body will fade after some time. I don't know when. Holding on to it pretty good now at 44, but at some point it is going to fade, just like with everybody else. I mean, you see all the retired bodybuilders, so it's inevitable. But what you still have is this up here. So if you've been working on that as throughout your journey, as you've been building this amazing rig, is the mental process, the mental toughness, and like talking about COVID, this is like perfect timing, right? Like I feel like what I do in the gym is I put myself in a position where I'm challenging myself, right? So it's like a controlled environment, and you challenge yourself on a day in, day out basis. And by doing that, that should transcend into other areas of your life if you're conscious about that. And so when things like this happen in real life, you're able to process it a little better and rebound from it better than the average person. Because nobody likes change. Nobody likes change. It bothers us tremendously, right? When our system gets ruffled, our daily routine gets ruffled. But you get upset about it. You get pissed off about it. You're allowed. I think our feelings are validated because nobody asked for this pandemic. But people have a different, they mourn differently. So it's okay to feel upset and be butthurt about what happened, but for how long, right? A week or so? And then you have to pick yourself up. And right, and now you're thinking about now how do I make this situation better for myself? I can't keep doing this. Like, this isn't helping anybody, right? So, and then my wife was in that situation as well. She opened this gym up before we even got together, so it's kind of her baby, and so she was stressed out of her gullet about being shut down because the bills keep accruing, right? So COVID-19 had shut everything down except for bills.
Right. Right.
Did you do any online coaching, AJ?
Apparently racism too. Bills and racism are the two things that COVID-19 couldn't kill off.
Right.
The bitches. But yes, I do online coaching, so that's also helped as well during this pandemic, when you have a brick and mortar business that's just forced to shut down for 3 months, and it's just accruing bills. Right. And that's what I heard. And what sucked is I felt guilty for posting anything fitness related with me in the gym, because in the world they can't work out. But I should be able to post it as mine. It's costing me $1,000 to work out every day in there.
So we had a couple of gyms here locally that stayed open the whole time. So Joel and I were able to get in the gym the whole time.
Shout out. Oh, never mind. I don't know if they want shout outs.
Well, no, I think they're open now. I mean, Iron Heaven's fine. Yeah, so there's a good gym here, Iron Heaven Gym, that we go to all the time. And so anyways, it was nice. But, yeah, we felt the same way because, we have this fitness group, Dads Who Lift, with 30,000 guys in it. And 99% of the guys, their gyms were closed. So when people were posting about the gym, the people were getting all pissed off, you know, like, oh God, you're in the gym, you selfish asshole, you know, you're going to kill everybody and all this stuff, you know?
Yes, I don't really get that. Yeah, and the thing is, you shouldn't have to have felt that way. It's at your disposal. It's, you know, haves and have-nots. You know, I don't get mad at Dan Blazerian for having a freaking yacht.
Right.
With, you know, crazy ass parties. But yeah, he has a yacht. I don't have a yacht. So how dare you post that picture of you in your yacht, you insensitive bitch.
Right. With all these beautiful women around, you asshole.
You can do that about anything. Like, oh my God, this guy's shredded to bits, man. Sean Roden, he's ripped. He's about to compete. You insensitive motherfucker, you. How dare you show your body off on social media when none of us can have that kind of muscle quality and density, you insensitive piece of shit. How dare you? Same concept, man, with the gym. Like, why am I? Plus, we're paying for it. We have to, you know, our landlord was just assholes about it too. Like, you know, it costs us roughly between 15 and 20K a month of bills.
Jesus.
It's a smaller studio gym. But still, that's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
A lot for a small business to eat up 3 months in a row to accrue almost, you know, almost 60 grand. So, and then in month 4, when things are opening up, they're expecting all those months to be paid. So, you know, month 1 through month 4, they expect
all at once
with the money that we didn't make during the time that we were closed. I don't understand that. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. I completely agree, though, man. I think fitness, when you're in the fitness industry, you're striving to be your best self physically. And a lot of times with people, that's how it starts, is that they just want to get in because they do want a better physique. They want to lose some weight or whatever. But as you get into this, I mean, I've been lifting weights consistently since high school, you know, and as you continue to grow in this, you know, passion, career, whatever it is for you, that does carry over into every aspect of your life. You know, it's no longer about how do I be the best version of myself physically. It's like, how do I be the best, not only the best version of myself physically, but how do I be the best father? How to be the best businessman? How to be the best husband? How to be the best friend? How to be the best wife? I mean, I'm always just striving to do better and be better. And I don't think I could have that type of motivation without going to the gym daily, you know, and having it start there. And I honestly don't think I'd be anywhere near where I'm at in business or my career or success wise if I was not physically fit and didn't take care of my body, you know, in the gym as well.
Yeah, I feel, bro, what you're saying, that resonates with me because that's how it's supposed to be. I don't think everyone comes from that same, you know, that same mindset, but that's how it should be. You know, it's the mind and the body works together. Yep. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's an age thing. A little bit of wisdom is coming along with it. I don't know. But yeah, initially it just started off with just, you know,
mind, body, spirit, man.
Yeah, it 100%. And you know, as you see yourself transform, like, well, I can't post my mental transformation on social media. Right. So that's why, like, Instagram is great. It's a great tool, but it's a very narcissistic tool. And which is also the reason why I probably do more videos and I talk a little more in my stories and stuff, so they're getting more of an idea of who I am. Because you do have to post in a narcissistic way to capture the attention and engagement of people, of the audience. And it gets more and more ridiculous every week, every month, because there's so many people on social media, and there's so many fitness people. So how do you catch that engagement? You have to post the most picture you're shredded from your freaking eyebrows down to your toenails, and then you capture the audience, and then maybe from there 60% or even less, 40% might actually read the content underneath the caption. And so it it makes shit. I feel like it puts the fitness people in this narcissistic cycle where they're constantly having to put themselves out there, in hopes to pick up traction to gain followers, right? To build their wolf pack. So I utilize the videos and stories more, so that way they see that it's not just, for me, it's not just about the physique. You know, I do place a lot of importance on family, And it's not just all bodybuilders. It's a different page for sure. If you look at my stories, it's more family and memes than anything else, and then you get the bodybuilding in the stories. But yeah, I'm definitely my page is definitely quite different from the average IFBB pros page, because I don't post it's not just strictly fitness. It's more like fitness plus lifestyle.
Well, and that's so for me, being a dad has taught me, I've got a 9-year-old son, but every day, and especially as he gets older, what being a father teaches me and what is really important for me in my life. You know what I mean? There's a certain part in my life where I thought it was money, or I thought it was girls, or I thought it was cars, or I thought, all the vain things that everybody wants as they're growing up and all these things that they strive for. But you get to a place in your life and your family and with your kids, and you really realize what actually matters to you. And, IG is a vain tool, and I think all social media is pretty vain, and you have to play both sides, right? You've got this following, you do have to catch the attention of everybody, but I'm sure there's I don't know what word I'm looking for. I'm sure the family still outweighs all that stuff,
Yeah, of course. And that's the reason why I showcase them so much.
Yep.
Because I showcase them a lot because I don't want people to confuse. That is my number one priority.
Yep.
And it's almost ironic for an IFBB pro to say that when this is kind of their world, and they use their name and their credibility for their businesses, just the way I do as well. I do online coaching. That's the bulk of my business. So the social media tool is heavy. It's a major tool for myself and for a lot of the other fitness people out there. And it's an awesome tool to be able to connect. Like, we wouldn't be on this podcast right now if it wasn't for social media.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it sucks that you gotta. And I don't feel like my page is really my page because I'm posting for this group of people more than I'm posting for myself, right? It's for the engagement. And then with the higher engagement, you'll have the leads to the clicks to your website. The more clicks to your website, the more clients that you potentially can have, right? So it is a business. I treat it that way as well.
I feel like it can all feed into each other and help. Your bodybuilding is going to make you a better person, which is going to make you a better father, and being a father is probably going to make you a better bodybuilder. So it's all about balance. Everything you do in life is about balance.
Yeah, in a perfect world, it gets tough and that's it. It's a juggling act, right? And then the more you put on your plate, the more you have to juggle.
For sure.
But that's just it. Like, and that doesn't get taken in consideration on stage. It's just no one cares.
Yeah, on stage it is what it is.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what you have on your plate. And I noticed that as a younger competitor, I had less responsibilities. I only had to focus on myself. Didn't have any bills. Didn't have any other mouths to feed. It's just me, right? So I can take naps and work out and do whatever I want with my time. Like, my free time was my time. Now I don't have any free time, man. My time is not my time. It's that 1-year-old's time for the most of the day, and then the girl's got to get someone has to chauffeur them to all their different events every day at different times of the day, which is it puts holes all up and through your day, man. When you get
funny how life changes, right?
Yeah, I can't wait till someone turns 16, man, so they can drive themselves around. But yeah, I'm an unpaid Uber driver from like 3:30 till like 8:30 at night. That was my schedule before all this pandemic hit. Now the kids are out of school, so they have an abbreviated training program. But the girl that does gymnastics, the middle one, she goes from 11:30 to 3:30. So it's 4 hours every day, Monday through Friday, right? But it's right in the middle of your damn day. And then the one has soccer at evening times, like 7:30 to 8:30 at night, right? So it's an hour, then it's outdoor soccer. So you can't just drop her off and come home, and you just got to stay there, right? So I get some work done on my phone while I'm watching soccer practice. And so it's all that kind of juggling, right? Juggling that, juggling who's cooking dinner and who has the baby, who's going to be at the gym. And then, hey, let's do a competition on top of that. So is it tougher? Yeah, I found out it is tougher. Last year, I panicked when my little boy was born. I don't know why, but I decided that day that I was going to compete and go right into prep.
The day he was born?
Yes, and I was stupid and smart.
As a true champion.
Yeah, it was. I think I just I got nervous. And I did it because that's what I'm used to.
You needed something familiar.
I use that as a pacifier.
That makes sense.
On myself. I'm like, damn, I'm a dad. We have a baby. So I think I might have panicked and just jumped into comp prep. And next thing you know, I did 4 shows pretty much back to back. I got a show almost every month. Yeah, that was rough. But it ended up me, winning a couple of pro cards, handful of pro cards with the IFBB, and so now I'm over here now. But to that point though about competing with having a family and all that jazz, the biggest takeaway is, because I'm talking about the mind and the body together, is also working on making every prep more perfect in the sense that people can't tell that I'm prepping by how I'm acting. You can only tell that I'm in prep mode because my face is sunken in. Right. So what I mean by that is I still have like my weekly cheats that I save for my family. Either we'll do a family date night or we'll take the girls out
family
for
dinner.
Something. Yeah, to keep that in there. It's a weekly thing, during the summers and over the weekends. So I make sure to have that cheat with them. So that way they're not feeling like they're neglected or they're missing out because dad's in prep, right? Same thing, just treats all up and through the house, which makes it a little tougher. When I was solo dolo, there was nothing in the house, right? Yep. It's easy to stay on prep when you don't have junk food in the house, because my cravings were never strong enough to actually put me into a car to drive somewhere to go get a snack.
But if it's around, it's a different story.
Yeah, it's different. It's a different story when you have to walk past it.
Smell it, make the kid pizza, right, for lunch, and not have any. That's the struggle.
When it's always at your fingertips, that's when you start. Your willpower starts waning a little bit. So sure, that makes it a little tougher as well. The schedule, but again, managing your emotions, managing how you're feeling throughout the day, just assessing where you're at with your energy levels is something that I was always been conscious of doing. So that way, the kids and my folks, trainer, our employees, anyone who's in my circle in real life, I don't want them feeling that here comes AJ, man. He hope he had some carbs today. Because it's funny because everyone talks about it, right? Everyone talks about being hangry, tired, hungry, in a massive deficit, and it does funny things to you, man. It makes you lethargic, this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, I'm still a grown ass man, and I have a mouth, and I can articulate.
Oh, did we freeze? There we go.
Articulate anything. Yeah, they cry for every little thing because they can't communicate that. They cry when they're thirsty. They cry when they're hungry. They cry when they're sleepy. But I feel like that's what some competitors do when
yeah, you got to own your own.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, you got to own your own shit.
You have to be able to manage that. So just making it to the stage isn't enough. It's making it to the stage and then treating people.
Keeping that mind body balance and that family balance. So, hey, AJ, I don't want to keep you too long, man. I know you're super busy. I'd like to ask you one more question if I could. And I know we kind of covered it all the way through, but just to kind of summarize, it's a question that we try to ask all of our guests that we have on. But what does it mean for you to be a dad who lifts?
It means, it's empowerment is what it is. And being able to show my family, being able to show my kids that I can still work on myself, still take care of the family, still have those chores, but still chase after my goals as well. I think it's important for the kids to see that dad's still going after his goals, dad's still going after his dreams. Because I don't work the typical 8 to 5 job like I used to, right? So they see me doing different things, but I don't know if they quite understand what it is I do. But I want them to understand that as long as you have the desire, the want, the drive, if you have that passion, you can do whatever it is that you want. I don't care if they go to college anymore. I did the college thing. I did the college thing, and I'm not even using that. So we're at a day and age now where you have social media, you have all this technology. If you have a dead set passion for something, you can create a business out of it. And that's the one thing I want my kids to understand, that they can come out. They don't have to go to college. They can come out and they can have a dead set passion for something and have a business or something to call their own. I want them to have options, but at the end of the day, I know what it felt like to be average and then have twice in my life these 2 points where I rose above average because I felt a certain way. There's a certain drive that came out inside of me, right? Same person all throughout from point A to point, whatever, to my point Z. But it's the inspiration factor. Like I didn't realize how much I can be inspired to do something, right? And I want my kids to be able to find that, because I don't think everyone doesn't find their passion in life. I don't think my parents have found it. It's one thing that they're dead passionate about. They worked like typical baby boomers. They worked their crappy job. They complained about it. I grew up listening to it, but they didn't quit. They just kept showing up, right? I don't know how smart that is, but that generation is
never stop moving.
They're battle tested. My folks' generation, they tough some shit out, right? Roll their sleeves up and toughed it out.
I think we need a little bit more of that nowadays, personally.
I think we do need a bit of that, but we make fun of the millennials for being lazy, but those jokers are smart. They do things
right
in a lazy way on purpose. Like they don't have to work. It's work smarter, not harder.
Right.
So when you combine the two, it'd be great. That's what I want. I want the work ethic instilled in my kids that my parents had, but I also want them to have the savviness
hybrid
nowadays, because you can do whatever you want now, and when you have the technology we have now, and I just want them to. I don't want them to feel like they don't have an option. If they want to go the college route, they can do that. And I want them to be able to choose their path. As long as they can explain to me what their plans are, I don't care what they do. I want to support that, but I don't want to have too much of a hand in guiding them. I want to expose them to a few things and then sit back and ask questions and kind of let them figure out what it is they want to do, what they're passionate about. But I do want them to understand that there's a thing out there called passion that they need to search for and find. And that's
absolutely.
By putting them into gymnastics. That's why I'm giving up the hours and driving all over God's creation all day long, to volleyball and to soccer and gymnastics and freaking badminton. But I want them to find something that's going to click, that's going to trigger them, right? And that feeling, I want them to experience that, and then I want them to start chasing after that. Because again, I watched the older generation of people. They didn't chase after any of their goals. They just went for that safe shit and that steady paycheck. And I don't want my kids to be like that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. You got to have both. It's like a hybrid. I grew up with that hard ass work ethic, so that's been installed in me, and I already know I'm installing that into my son. But he's also going to have the smarts too, to where it's like, all right, grind when you have to grind. Follow your passion, follow your dreams, never stop until you get there. Stay motivated, but at the same time, if you can work smarter, not harder, do that too. There's a lot of different things and a lot of different opportunities nowadays with social media that our parents didn't have.
AJ, how can people find out more about you and support you in your business too? We haven't gotten into that.
Instagram is a really easy way. It's just my name at AJ Ellison. And then through there, they can contact me or they can go through my website. It's a little bit of a long URL, but it's getstarted.ajfit.online. But again, Instagram is a good way to reach out and contact. I try to do my best to get back to people. I'm a little slow sometimes, like Bryan, as Bryan knows, but I always try to make sure I message back. So I think that's really important. I think as these social media accounts grow, the people running them tend to forget how they got there in the first place. So at least just making some kind of a connection, trying to respond back to as many messages as possible is the only way to go, right? You got to make those connections. You got to at least give back, and I think people appreciate that. They see a bit more genuine when you're responding back to comments and messages. So so IG is probably the best way to get a hold of me.
Well, that's awesome, man. I appreciate you coming on the show again. I think it's safe to say that you are an inspiration for hundreds of thousands of people around the world, man. You're definitely an inspiration for me, and I think you're doing a great job. I think your children are going to have a great example to follow, So, so thanks for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it. Guys, if you found anything useful on this show, anything that you liked, anything entertaining, we do this stuff for free. We really appreciate your support. If you give us a like, share, 5-star review, subscribe to the YouTube, we really appreciate it. We have our apparel line is taking pre-orders right now. We have a website that actually has all the podcast links on it as well, and that is www.dadswholiftofficial.com. We're on IG as Dads Who Lift Official, and then we're on Facebook as Dads Who Lift Podcast. We also have a group. If you are a dad who lifts, growth-minded individual, we have a group called Dads Who Lift Official on Facebook. It's a Facebook group with 30,000 dads in it, all growth-minded guys just trying to be the best fathers they can be and stay physically fit at the same time. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely check it out. So awesome, man. Thank you again, AJ. I really appreciate having you on, man. It's been a blessing.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, AJ. See ya.
On next week's episode of the Dads Who Live podcast, we have on good buddy of ours, Tim Rexius, with Rexius Nutrition, Iron Heaven Gyms, and Now and Never podcast. We talk about growing as fathers so that our children have room to surpass our examples as leaders.